everyone, welcome back. Today's video, I cannot believe we have had an opportunity like this, but look what we are going to be playing with today. I'll pop you down for a sec. Ever the professional, you're perched on my drawer. But this, my friends, is the Auto Press by HTVRONT, and I cannot believe we are playing with this today. If you've been a long-term viewer of the channel, you may remember back in the day I used to sublimate mugs. Sublimation was one of the first, rather foolish actually. Sublimation is not for the faint-hearted, and it was one of the very first pieces of equipment I ever invested in for my small business. I had a heat press and I had a sublimation printer, and I stopped sublimating because it was a very frustrating process, and honestly I was clueless. Knowing a bit more like I do now, and I'm still not a sublimation pro, but over the past week or so since this bad boy arrived, I've been doing a ton more research I should have done back at the start when I was doing mugs. But obviously a mug press isn't flat and it can't do other things like flat items. I'm talking coasters, bookmarks, tea towels, t-shirts, bags, anything flat that could be sublimated. I've always wanted to try it. And I started documenting the process of trying to revive my sublimation printer that had long since blocked and dried up. The nozzles had been blocked and the ink hadn't been run through for such a long time, and I'm talking maybe 6 years, and I was wondering, can I actually get this printer working again? And shortly afterwards, HTVRONT reached out and asked if I would like to try one of these. I fell off my chair. I feel so lucky and full of appreciation to HTVRONT for trusting me and my channel to share this bad boy. I'm so excited to get started with it with you guys. Now, just a little disclaimer, because of my history with sublimation and the printer, I have been playing with this thing already. I wanted to try and get the settings right, but we're not quite there yet. So I thought I'd do the rest of it with you guys. Let's document. But before we get started and start checking out all of the specs and how this thing works, I just wanted to also share that I invested in some heat gloves. I started trying to take things out of this heat press with just my bare hands, and just, you know, I was really naughty. Don't do this. I was using the sleeve of my jumper, and obviously you're not very dexterous like that. You don't have very much control. You're dealing with very, very hot items. Just for the sake of a few quid, invest in some heat-proof gloves. Now, I've not actually used these yet, but we'll give them a try and see how much protection they actually provide. Now, obviously we're not just talking sublimation with this thing. We can also do heat transfer vinyl, which is something I've always wanted to try, but I've always been very scared of vinyl. But recently, if you've watched, was it my last studio vlog, I actually used vinyl to transfer a wall decal above my packing station, and it was my first experience using vinyl, and it's made me it's given me the vinyl bug. I'd like to try some other things, and I've also got a Cricut machine just there actually. So these two things are a very similar colour, different brands but very similar colour, and it just goes, I went with blue because it goes with the Cricut machine, gonna be honest. But I thought, could we get into heat transfer vinyl as well and maybe do some tote bags? I've got another product which I think would work really well with the heat proof vinyl, so I went and got myself one of these. This is a weeding tool, and I've always wanted one. Looks a little bit like a dentist's pokey stick. I was gonna get one of these a couple of weeks ago when I did my wall decal, but they didn't have it in stock, and I ended up doing the weeding part of it with just my Stanley knife, my carrot knife, my famous carrot knife, and it wasn't very accurate, and it was a bit like, you know, you're playing with the wrong tools. So this thing, it's got a lovely point on it. I thought I'd get this for our vinyl ventures. Now, I'm not going to be doing vinyl today. We are just going to be doing sublimating, but rest assured I will get some heat-proof vinyl, and we will come back to this another day and we can try heat transfer vinyl together. I also got some ceramic ornaments that we're going to try and print onto today. Coasters, so we're going to try and do some coasters today as well. And then, although you can sublimate on these, I am just visualising these with heat transfer vinyl instead. Maybe with a nice quote on, or one of my woodland animals. But what do you think? Maybe we should try and do one of those today as well. Should we try? I've got a squirrel design that might look quite nice sat in the middle of that, so yeah, we'll see. It's finding the right illustration design to fit the shapes properly. So let's get stuck in. So I've plugged it in, let's turn it on. Now something to bear in mind is this machine is in Fahrenheit, and where I am in the UK we tend to use Celsius. So for the coasters I need to be using about 180 degrees Celsius, and I've just used Google converter for that to see what 180 is in Fahrenheit, and you just click this button here and you can boost it up or boost it down. So I need about 355 Fahrenheit for 180 degrees Celsius. And then the same concept again, you press the little clock here. I need about 60 seconds on my coaster, and again you can push that up if you want to, or push it down. Then once you're done, just leave it. This will now proceed to heat up to the correct temperature, and when it's ready, this flashing red light here will go green. Now what I've done here is set up a template on Photoshop, so I've given myself a bit of a bleed area and a safe space in the middle. So these lines will be printed out, but they're not going to be printed onto the product itself, they're just more for my benefit, guidelines to know where to put the coaster. So let's print these out. Now I have been playing with the settings a little bit because I think I've yet to get the settings quite right. So at the moment I'm trying a generic RGB profile, so let's just have a look. I don't know if that's set up in CMYK. No, it's RGB, so let's just make doubly sure that everything is set up as it should be, because we don't want the colours to be off. I want to try and get it as accurate as possible, so I think I'm going to try and print it with the generic RGB profile, and obviously there is trial and error with sublimating because what you're using is sublimation inks and there doesn't tend to be much of a profile for that. So I'm using Photoshop manages the colours rather than the printer manages the colours. I just feel that the colours come out a lot better with Photoshop. But with that, it means trying to get the colour profile accurate so that we get just enough ink on the paper and the colour accuracy as well. So just whilst that's printing out, we can see that this has now gone green, so it's really quick to heat up. That only took a couple of minutes. And then here is our drawer. Now, as I say, I have been playing with this already, and it didn't take very long for this to become discoloured. From what I can see though of other people using this machine, that happens, it's totally normal. And I'm assuming that you change these every so often just to avoid, you know, them burning through. But yeah, it took literally 1 or 2 prints with it. As you can see, I've tried the ceramic things and I've tried the coasters here. That is very, very warm. But yeah, it didn't take very long to go discoloured. So just total disclaimer, I have been playing with it a little bit. This thing does come off so you can change it. So it's tied on with elastics just here. So all of my blanks, including the little, where have I put those blanks? All of these blanks are from Ink Express. They are a family run business here in the Midlands. I got these gloves on Amazon, and I also got this sublimation heat proof tape from Amazon as well. The great thing about buying from this brand is they do provide a bit of a rough guideline on their website as to how much heat and how long each individual product should be put into the machine. So that's why there's a bit of trial and error of what time, heat and pressure will work for one of these. Won't necessarily be the same for something like this, or again something like this. And just while we're waiting for the coaster designs to print off, one of the criticisms I have seen with this machine is that you can't alter the pressure of it. So with heat transfer, sometimes it's required that you alter the pressure, so a bit more or a bit less. With this, it's the auto heat press, so it does it all for you. And I have seen that some people have said that that could be a bit of a con. For me, as a bit of a beginner, I see that as a bit of a pro, because I'm just trusting the machine to put the products in, press it, come back out again, Bob's your uncle. I'm not experienced enough with sublimation just yet, but I just thought I'd mention it, that you can't actually alter the pressure on this thing, it's all automatic. Okay, so I have my print, I've got my coaster, I've peeled off the protective layer on it, and now I'm just going to lay it in the middle of the template that I made. The reason I've made it a bit bigger, that's not the tape I'm choosing, this one's already been The reason I've made the template bigger is I did do some coasters a couple of nights ago where I just sort of wrapped the tape around the coaster, but what happened was it left tape marks on the ink transfer, so you could see where the ink had been. So I'm hoping just by sticking it down like this, will be much better for it. And if you flip it over, you can see slightly your design, so you can even check to make sure that it's exactly where you want it to be. So we're all ready to go. I'm going to open up the machine, place my product that way. Then I'm going to lay the Teflon sheet that came with the machine over the top. We are going to pop it back in, and when you press the go button, you can see that it clamps down and the countdown has begun. It will beep at me when it's ready to open. Ta-da! Look at these! Now I still need to work on my print quality. My print heads need a good clean because there's a tiny bit of streaking going on still, so I think I might need to... These smell great, by the way. Heated up cork, you can't beat it. I'm joking. But I think once I've got my print quality sorted, these will honestly be such a huge, like, exciting addition to my shop. The gloves are working too, so I can feel a slight bit of warmth between my fingers, but obviously I'm not burning my fingers. It's only ever so slight, and it allows you to handle the product. So I'm gonna pop that one down, and I'll show you one I made the other night. This is my moth. This one's cold, so I can take these off, but this was my moth design that I did the other day. Again, I need to work on the colours a little bit, but I'm so chuffed with these as like some of my first attempts. With that said though, would you like to see some of the terrible attempts? So this is just an example of how getting the print settings right is super important with sublimation. So this one, I've nearly got it. It's nearly right, whereas this one was totally not okay. Same time, obviously same pressure because it's the same machine, you can't change the pressure on it, same heat, and these are totally different. It's just totally different print settings. You can see on the back as well, this is my Valentine's design. This one came out awfully, and it's all to do basically with my print quality. So that is going to be my mission going forwards. I also would really love to be able to put my name on the back of these, but again, I'm trying to get the print quality right. So I'm probably going to keep this video going over a few days because obviously I don't have all the time in my world because my child is not quite at nursery, but come next week he will be at nursery and I'll be able to do a hell of a lot more experimenting. But the experimenting has been kind of put to one side for a moment because I've got my Kickstarter still ongoing at the moment. I'm trying to prioritise getting those packed, so this is kind of something that I'm doing for fun in my downtime. So we have the moon gazing hair. This one came out awfully, and again it's all to do with the print quality, and it made me realise that I need to go and just have a good play because these, they're not okay. So this bit here, can you see these, can you see that's where the tape was on one of my first attempts? So I can see that it's a really lovely even heat, which is something that I've always been put off with buying other heat presses in the past. Is one of the bits of research that I always seem to come across was with cheaper models you tend to get plates that don't heat evenly, and then it can result in you having uneven print finishes. So I'm going to see if I can do a bit more cleaning of the printer. I do need to flush it out again. I think the nozzles have been really stubborn, and at some point I'd love to invest in a new printer because it is quite old now, but it feels so good to be able to experiment with this heat press behind me, and I'm so, oh, I've dropped a print. I really am buzzing about the potential and possibilities going forwards with my small business. Good morning, we are back in the studio. It's a different day. I dropped my son at nursery this morning. More on that in my next vlog. There's a whole vlog coming on this huge transition. I'm finding it very difficult. I came home and just had to sit down and have my coffee and do a jigsaw puzzle because I was just like, but now I'm in here, I'm fine. And I've actually put together some new, some slightly different templates for myself. I'm going to try and do the flags again today. Sorry I had to stop there because my dentist was ringing me. I've just been playing about with the settings a little bit more, like altering the levels and the saturations and stuff like that on Photoshop, just to see what I can do with the print quality. So let's get stuck in. I'm excited to see how these turn out. So I'm going to do the rabbit one first, just because I've already done a rabbit and I want to see what the quality is like now that I've tweaked the settings. So let's get a fresh one. I like that you can almost see through where the design's going to go, so it it helps you to figure out the placement, because I guess the nature of this, there is a bit of eyeballing involved, just to try and get it where you want it to go. There we go, let me get my tape. I could really do with getting another tape dispenser actually for this, just so that it's not as fiddly. Get the gloves out. Haha. Just whilst that's pressing, I'm gonna prep an order that's just come through for a couple of lanyards. Thank you so much, by the way, if you've ordered one of the lanyards. These have been doing really well for the shop. It's got foxes, toadstools, I've got badgers, strawberries, and I've also got 2 new designs on the way, but I can't for the life of me tell you what they are because I've forgotten. It was a couple of weeks ago that I ordered a restock of lanyards plus some extra ones, and honestly cannot remember what I ordered because I ordered a big restock, and there's just been so much going through my brain since Little Bear started nursery last week that I just don't remember. Okay, gloves are on. Let's take this thing out of the press. Oh my goodness, that just goes to show what happens when you mess about with the settings. Look at the difference. Look at the difference. How, oh my goodness. So what I did here, just for anyone interested, this was just a standard print, and with this one I upped the saturation and I played about with the levels just to really deepen the colours. Now that's the thing with sublimation, and I remember this from my mug printing days, is when you print a sublimated like image, they're very, very dull, and it's hard to see what the final colour is going to come out like. And that's why just the nature of the game is that there's a lot of trial and error with this process, and it's what frightened me the first time. But I'm finding this heat press so easy to use, it's so user friendly, and I'm getting on really well with it. I'm just buzzing, I'm so excited. I've got a little snail to do, but this, look at that, isn't it adorable? The thing with these little flags is they cool down really quickly as well. What I've also seen on Ink Express is they do a bigger size of this, so I got the smaller ones just to have a play about with, and I think they're adorable. I'll definitely go and get some more, but I think I'd like to go and get a bigger size as well, and potentially bring something to the shop that's like, you know, a birth announcement or just a nice little keepsake for your kiddies' rooms or something like that. Maybe even a marriage banner, Mr. and Mrs. with the date of your wedding on it, or location where you got married, something like that. I think I'm going to go away and put some designs together, but I definitely really love to make one for my own son's bedroom, so yeah, I think it would be nice to bring something like that to the shop. Can't get over the difference though, and this is why it is so important to mess about with your printer, have a little look. I mean, it does produce a little bit of waste as well, which was one of the things that put me off when I first started sublimating. I wasn't a fan of the waste, but just do your research, have a good thorough research of everything that you need to know. And the great thing about a heat press that HTVRONT provide is because it's automatic, you don't really have to mess about with the pressure. So for a beginner, I'm finding this incredibly user-friendly and just such a fun and exciting experience. Let's get this snail done. Let's get the snail and the mushroom done. I'm just buzzing. So I've only got one more flag left as well, because I bought, you know, just a handful of samples. What I'll do after the flags though is I'll go in and do some ceramic ornaments, because I've got these ones left out of my stash. I've got another one of these to do, so we'll look at the print quality in comparison. So that's the first one I did, it's naff. Then I did this one, and then we'll have a look at the print quality with another one. Then I've got some different designs to do for the ceramic ornaments, and we can see what the quality's like now that I've played about with them a bit more. I'm currently watching Once Upon a Time still, and I'm on episode, I don't know, it's the bit where, you know, there's a beanstalk involved. Don't want to say too much, just in case it spoils it for anyone that's not watched it and wants to watch it. I think if I hold it, oh yeah, if you hold it up to the light actually you can see I don't even know if you can see that. I don't think you'll be able to, but if you hold it up to the light, it really helps you to gauge, you know, exactly where it's going to go. Yeah, we should be good with that. Oh, I'm so excited. You know, there's something really magical about being able to make things yourself in your studio. You can be flexible with your designs, you can print off or just manufacture yourself how many you want, and you know, although there is a bit of waste to begin with, there's then not going to be, you know, a case that I've experienced. Sometimes I've ordered a certain amount of something, like minimum order quantity from an actual manufacturer. The design might not have been very popular, and then I'm left with a stack of them that I need to shift, and then that's waste as well, depending on how you then get rid of it. So I do think there's something really magical about making it yourself. It adds an extra personal touch as well from, you know, a customer perspective. You guys are getting to see these being made in my studio by little old me. So I hope you're enjoying it. I hope you're enjoying being on this adventure with me, and thank you for sticking around if you've been here since the start. Right, that's that one. Would you like to come over to the heat press with me? Now I've put a bit of paper down because I was a wally and accidentally sublimated onto the heatproof mat, but you can see it looks a bit like toast at the moment. It's becoming very brown, but from the reviews that I've been reading, that is normal. So because this has got a little like dowel rod at the end, I'm just going to put that literally on the edge, and so far it's been working a treat. Let me just get my camera hand strap out of the way. It's getting a bit frisky there, isn't it? So we'll close it, and if I put you here and press the go button, you'll be able to see just how it clamps down, and it does it all by itself. What a good lad. Right, let's have a look at the snail. He's so cute. Look at him. Look at the little snail on the toadstool. So I think this one could do with a bit of adjusting still. I'm not 100% happy with the colours, but I can't tell you how easy this is to just play about, have some fun, and I just love it. Shall we do some ceramic ornaments? I can't get over this guy. Look at him, just chilling in his allotment, but we're seeing much better results. Holding them up to the light is such a hack that I'm really impressed with. So with these ornaments, because they're a lot smaller, I'll be able to put a couple on at a time. So I'll just press, in fact I'll prepare 2 and we'll do 2 at a time. I would do more if I was doing the same design like over and over again. Because I'm just fiddling about with the settings at the moment and seeing what we can do, I'm just going to do a couple at a time and just keep playing. And also remember, remember to mirror image your design before you pop it through. Otherwise you're going to have backwards text if you've got any text or anything like that. Let's go over to the machine. Oh my goodness, look, it's my little bear. This one didn't come out so well, so I need to go back to the drawing board with this one, but that's what it looked like as a print. And then here we go. So obviously it's going to be backwards for you guys when you see it on the camera. I'm just having so much fun though. I think this is really exciting for my business, and oh, I'm so grateful for HTVRONT for sending me this machine. It's so much fun. What I'm going to do with the reverse of this one, because obviously it's no good, I'm going to flip it over and try to put the thing, I'm going to try and put the paper into the press with the ornament for a bit longer. I'm just going by the guidelines that are on Ink Express, so they do provide you with like an estimate of what you should be using. But as I said earlier in the video about not being able to alter the pressure with this machine, it might be a pressure thing. So yeah, let's just try. We won't know unless we try, but it might be a case of just putting it in for a bit longer. I might need to go and play with the settings on the printer a bit more. But also I know I mentioned earlier that it's going to vary between designs, so yeah, it's a little bit of a process, but I'm learning so much and I'm very excited about it. So what my plan is for this heat press, I don't have the biggest studio. I'm always saying that I'm trying to utilise the space as much as possible. My space has been through a bit of a transformation recently as well. So what my plan is, insert overlay here, is I'm going to get another tiny Alex drawer unit that's currently part of my desk. It came with the desk, but I think you can buy them separately as well. I'm going to extend my desk and then the heat press will live just here. So I need a trip to IKEA at some point, but then the heat press will just be out and in the open and ready to use. Hopefully like once a week if I can allocate a day to sublimating. I think that's the way most people do it because of the process and because of the time dedication that it also takes to, you know, setting the files up and getting the product looking right. A little bit of trial and error, obviously getting your printer running through at least like once a week just so the inks don't start being stubborn like mine have, because I've not used it for a really long time. I think it's a smart idea to get those inks running through the printer regularly, but if I can allocate maybe a day of the week when my son's at nursery to sublimated products, the press can go just here. And as I said earlier in the video, I think it will probably be a good idea, woo, coming out now, it will probably be a good idea for me to invest in a new printer in the near future. So let's get it out. Don't know what's, oh, we were meant to put it in for longer, Ellis, pay attention. Let's send it round again. It's also gone lunchtime, which is probably why my brain's like, just whilst that's going through the press again, look what HTVRONT gave me to gift to one of you. Look at this, it's a mini heat press, so this could be yours. I'm going to be giving it away over on my Instagram, so I'll leave a link down below. You can come and check the post there and find out how you can enter. It is going to be UK only, just because of the size of the parcel. I've got to post this bad boy, and it's also got a UK plug, so it is UK only. But I'll also link HTVRONT's website down below. I believe they ship anywhere, so you can go and check them out, see their entire range. But I just thought I'd let you know, I'll be giving away this one. So that's been like 2.5 minutes. Once again, come over here with me. Come here, my darling. Look at the difference. So that has gone in for an extra 30 seconds compared to this side. And look at the quality difference. Just madness, isn't it? There is a tiny bit of streaking, but I have cleaned my printer to within an inch of its life. I think it's just on its way out, but it just goes to show that it is the printer, it's not the heat press. I don't want it to sound like it's anything to do with the heat press. The heat press is brand new and it's honestly not the problem. It's my printer, it's my ancient old quite unreliable printer, but we're doing what we can in this video. I just wanted to show you what the possibilities are like when you start mucking about with sublimation. It's so fun. It can be frustrating at times because, you know, there's trial and error depending on your mindset on the day. I think your mindset on the day plays a huge part in how you view sublimation, I have found. So if I've been feeling a bit frustrated and a little bit not in a very good headspace, I don't tend to get sublimation stuff out because it can be a little bit stressful. But when you're in a good mood, like today, look at this. Isn't it pretty? I'm so excited for the possibilities for my small business. And once again, thank you so much to HTVRONT for sending me this machine as a gift, because it's such a huge investment in my business. Should we turn it off before we burn the house down? I am joking. I think I said earlier, but just in case I didn't, it does have a safety feature built in. So if it's not used for, I think it's about 10 minutes, it will just shut itself off. But please remember to turn your machine off. I'm so happy. I'm so excited with what we've managed to do today. And it just goes to show, doesn't it, that you can have so much fun making your own products. I have wanted a heat press like this for ages, but I've always been really scared. So I feel incredibly blessed and fortunate to have had this opportunity with HTVRONT. I don't take it for granted. I'm very excited and very fortunate, and I just wanted to share the experience with you and show you what's coming to the shop in the very near future. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for keeping me company today in the studio whilst I've been an anxious mess waiting for my son to finish nursery. In a couple of hours I'll be able to go and get him, but it's time for lunch now and I'm going to pack away and I'm excited and just be chuffed with what we've managed to do today. I'll see you in the next video.